Okay. So we were looking at the different modes of the Hadoop, and before that, uh, we need to see that what is the exact Hadoop means. Okay. So what is Hadoop? Hadoop is a kind of framework which allows you to store the big amount of data in the kind of distributed environment. Okay, so that you can process it parallelly. So here you can see there is a HDFS storage, that is the Hadoop data file system, and the yarn, which is enabling us for the parallel processing. And this HDFS is allowing us to store the data in a kind of distributed environment. So the first mode is your local mode or standalone mode. So here in this mode you have the default mode, which is default mode, and this mode doesn't allow uh, it is not really using the HDFS. You can use the input output for as good as in the local system. Okay, so that is why this particular uh, mode, that is the default mode or local mode, is efficient, where you did not have to do any kind of configuration in the XML files. Okay, so this it is usually the fastest mode at uses as it uses the local file system. Okay, so it is used for debugging or testing purpose, as HDFS is not being used, and it uses the local file system for input output, and it is a default Hadoop mode. Okay, so by default the Hadoop mode is the local mode. Okay, so that you can do the testing kind of purpose that your system can be utilized. The second one is a pseudo distributed mode. Okay, so this mode is also known as a single node cluster, where both the name node and the data node will reside on the same machine. That means as you have the server kind of thing, wherein 127.0.0.1 or local host is a server wherein you have the client and server on the same machine. On similar lines, you have these two modes, that is the name node and the data node on the same machine, and that is why it is known as a pseudo distributed. It is not actually distributed, but it is giving us a feel of getting distributed. That is why it is a pseudo distributed. So this is a pseudo distributed mode, wherein we are working on a single machine, but as if there are two separate machines. One is your client and another is like server. So you have the name node and the data node which are residing on the same machine, and that is why it is known as a pseudo distributed. Pseudo का मतलब हो गया कि it is not in existence really, but it is a it is in the pseudo mode. Okay, so it is a pseudo distributed. So in pseudo distributed mode, all Hadoop daemons, that is the threads, will be running on the single node. Okay, so such configuration is mainly used for the testing, when you are going to test your uh, uh, whatever the program that you have developed will be done in this kind of mode. Okay, so such configuration is mainly utilized for the testing purpose. Okay, so in this architecture a separate JVM, that is Java virtual machine, is spawned for every Hadoop component, as they could communicate across the network sockets. Okay, so networking का अगर आपको knowledge है, TCP IP, and there are different sockets and there are different ports through which the communication is going on. so effectively producing a fully functional and optimized mini cluster on a single host. So you get a look and feel, you get a feel of working in a cluster, but you are really working on a single machine. Okay, so what are the advantages? So single node Hadoop development deployment running on Hadoop is considered to be the Hadoop pseudo distributed mode. All the masters and slave domains. Okay, so there will be one thread which is in the master mode and another thread in the slave mode, and they are running simultaneously on the single machine. Okay, so again it is used for the testing purpose, and it is the replication factor will be 1 for 1 block. Okay, so changes in the configuration file will be required. Okay, so all, why? Because you are now using the same machine as a client and server, and that is why certain changes are required to be done in the configuration files. Then the third one, the third mode is your fully distributed mode, that is multi node cluster. Okay, so this is a production mode. That means whatever things that you want to test, you have tested it, and after doing the testing, you are using the real life version of your Hadoop. That means now your database will be geographically distributed, that is you are using the distributed node. Okay, so this is a production mode of Hadoop where multiple nodes will be running, and here data will be distributed across several nodes, and the processing will be done in a kind of simultaneous manner. Okay, so master slave services will be running. So this is a, what you can see, fully distributed Hadoop mode. The third mode is a fully distributed Hadoop mode, and it separates the nodes for master and slave domains. Okay, so that means now you have a separate thread running on separate machine for master, and separate thread running on separate machine for slave daemons. Okay, so data are used and distributed across multiple nodes. So each Hadoop mode have its own benefits and drawbacks. Definitely fully distributed mode is the one which is utilized for the production purposes, but Hadoop modes like standalone and pseudo distributed are basically used to test the things. Okay, so that is it. That are the different Hadoop modes. Any difficulty, students? Okay, so we'll stop over here, and the